and Africa Prudential Registrars PLC. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment to go through some participation guidelines which will help us all get the most of this webinar. Please note that attendees will be required to have a good running internet connection to be a part of the webinar and will be required to have their mics on mute during this event. If, however, your connection is lost during the event, simply click the link to rejoin. While we'll be using a mobile-friendly application for the webinar, attendees are advised to join the webinar from their laptops or desktops for optimum viewing of the presentations. Please note that there will be a question and answer session during the webinar, and attendees may write their comments or questions to the speakers in the Q&A chat space at any point during the event. In asking your questions, please indicate your name, your location, and who your question is directed at. For technical and quality purposes, please note that only the speakers will be able to use their microphones. The webinar is going to be recorded and attendees will be able to watch it later. A link to the recorded webinar and transcript of the recording will be shared within a few days of the event. At this point, I'd like to recognize the presence of a number of important personalities who are joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome the DH Trading Division business for his opening remarks, Mr. Jude Chemeka.
Thank you very much, Ikechi and Friday. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the management of Nigerian Exchange Limited, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you to this retail investor webinar tagged Realizing Income from Your Investments, Dividends to Coupons, and Everything in Between. The Nigerian Exchange Limited is hosting this event in continuation of our commitment to providing relevant and strategic information targeted at equipping investors with the knowledge and skills necessary to effectively manage and grow their financial resources by leveraging the numerous investment opportunities available to retail investors in the capital market. It's important that investors understand capital market investments, investment mechanisms, as only then will they be empowered to make sound investment decisions, such as diversifying their investment portfolios and enjoying the benefits that come with same. A well-diversified investment portfolio helps to preserve capital, generate returns, and minimize the risk of loss. And this is achievable when investors possess good understanding of investment products and their features, market regulation, and the roles played by the different players in the capital market ecosystem. And so in order to provide investors a better understanding of the investment products and the roles of important players in the capital market ecosystem, we are indeed happy to be collaborating with two institutions who represent two very key important stakeholders in the Nigerian capital market ecosystem: Greenwich Securities Limited and African Prudential PLC, representing the brokers and registrar businesses respectively. And through combined efforts, we have been able to put together a comprehensively informative webinar designed to help investors seize investment opportunities and avoid investment risks or pitfalls in their quest to achieve their financial objectives. The exchange, through its retail investor coverage department, will certainly continue to roll out initiatives designed to encourage retail investor involvement in the capital markets. These initiatives will include a variety of engagements targeted at promoting financial literacy and building investor confidence, as well as highlighting the exchange's groundbreaking technology-driven solutions aimed at enhancing access to the market and stimulating investor participation. Whatever your investment goals are, your risk appetite or return expectations may be, we are confident that at the close of this webinar, all the attendees would certainly have a better understanding of the opportunities in the Nigerian capital market. I thank you all for taking our time out of your busy schedules to participate today. And I would also like to thank our sponsors for this webinar, Greenwich Securities Limited, as well as African Prudential PLC, for their efforts in making it possible. I wish you all an exciting and interactive webinar, and I believe that at the end of the event, you will emerge better investors. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, DH, for starting things off. That was the divisional head of the Trading Business Division at NGX Limited, Mr. Jude Chiemeka, delivering the welcome address and just telling us a little bit of the exciting things we can all look forward to at this event. He talked about a very well-rounded webinar, which features presentations from some of our very experienced participants in our market, and they're here to take us through what is bound to be an enlightening and informative session. And I'm sure everyone is looking forward to it. I'll definitely be taking notes on this one. However, before we move on to the presentations, I'd like to point out that this webinar is an interactive one, and we have a couple of polls which will run during the event. The first of which should be on your screens now. I would like to encourage everyone to participate in answering the polls, as they will help us all interact better and also will give us a better understanding of your expectations from this webinar. These polls are being administered digitally, so just follow the prompt on your screen and you should be done in just a few moments. The results are going to be collated real time, and we'll have a chance to take a look at the responses in a short while. So please go ahead and respond to the poll. We'll just give 2 minutes for responding to this while our speakers get ready to start. We're going to get into the main presentations in a few minutes. So thank you for your time, and thank you for taking part in this poll. All right, we should be rounding up with the poll now. I hope everyone has been able to finish the poll. We should be rounding up by now, just a few moments left, and then the poll will come to an end. The results are already being collated. So please, if you haven't done that, you can do so very quickly. We just have a few more moments to close the poll. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for participating in the poll. I believe that we should all be done by now. And for time constraints, we will need to move on to other items on the agenda. Thank you again for participating. The responses are going to be displayed on your screens any moment now. So, while you look at the results of the polls on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, things are picking up, and we're about to go into our first presentation of the day. Let me just point out once again that attendees are free to type in their questions at any point in time during this event in the Q&A space on your screens, not the chat box, but the Q&A one. Now, remember to include your name and location and indicate who your question is directed at, and then go ahead and ask your questions. We will answer all of your questions during the Q&A session, which comes up a little bit later. So without wasting any more of your time, with us here today to deliver the first presentation of the day, captioned Realizing Income from Investments, Please allow me to introduce the acting MD of Greenwich Securities Limited, Ms. Eniola Usula. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here with you to discuss this important topic. Now, we should be discussing today realizing income from your investments. And which incomes are we talking about? We are talking about dividends, coupon, and also capital gain. But before I dive into that, I would briefly tell you the table of contents, what we shall be discussing today. Basically, we shall talk about the Nigerian Exchange Group, and then go down to the demonetization of the NSC, and also talk about the performance of the NGX in the past 10 years. Then the various investment options available on the Nigerian Exchange Limited, and then the benefits and also the features of these investments. I also dive in to talk about one of our products, that is my trade book, our online trading platform, then a brief about the Greenwich Group. Now, the Nigerian Exchange Limited was founded in 1960, and at that time it was called the Lagos Stock Exchange. And in 1977, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the name was now changed to the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And then on March 10, 2021, the Nigerian Stock Exchange announced the final approval by the Securities and Exchange Commission of the demutualization process. Based on this, a non-operating group was formed called the Nigerian Exchange Group, NGX Group, which has 3 operating subsidiaries: the Nigerian Exchange Limited, which is the exchange, the NGX Regulations Limited, which is the independent securities regulator, and also the NGX Real Estate Limited. Now, the exchange is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they are registered to offer listing, trading services, licensing services, market data, and also ancillary and technological services. Before now, the mode of the automated trading system was the format in which you traded on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has gone ahead to acquire a much robust platform, which is the XGen. And with this XGen, it has enabled even investors to also have, retail investors to also have access also to the market. Before now, through the automated trading system, it was only the brokers that were able to trade. And at that point in time, mandates will be sent to the broker and trades will go on. But now with this new XGen, the exchange has been able to create, opportunities for individual investors to also have access to the market and trade. There are various instruments available in the market to trade on, and you have equities, you have bonds, you have exchange traded funds, also that investors have opportunities to trade on. And now a breakdown of the total market capitalization on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. For the equities, you have 19.72 trillion. For the bonds market, you have 18.02 trillion. For the exchange traded fund, you have 12.38 billion. And then soon the exchange would commence derivative trading. What is this demutualization process? It's actually a process whereby a non-profit member-owned organization, non-profit-owned member organization is now become a profit-owned organization and now owned by shareholders. This was in 2005, Johannesburg Stock Exchange was the first to demutualize. Now the Nigerian Stock Exchange has joined in this, and we know that this will create a lot of opportunities for them. They will have access to capital, technological innovation. They will also have good corporate governance. Everything will come into play. Opportunities are now available even for investors to become shareholders of the NGX. Also, a breakdown of the performance.
Really speak justice to the role.
Okay.
Now, when my first.
Hello. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. So a breakdown of the 10-year performance of the exchange. The total market capitalization at this point in time is 19.72 trillion as at 12th of July. And basically for the past 10 years, there has been a form of economic, 2 periods of economic recession on the exchange. You had one in 2006, where the exchange, where the all-share index slumped to 22,456, and that was due to fall in crude oil prices. And then you also had another one recently in 2020, where we had the COVID-19 pandemic, where we found out that the all-share index slumped to 20,000 basis points. Now, the all-share index is actually an index that tracks the general market movement. You also have the market capitalization, which tracks the total value of shares listed on the NGX, that is Nigerian Exchange Limited. And this next slide goes to show the analysis of the market capitalization of instruments, securities listed on the exchange. You have equities, which have 20.4 trillion, you have bonds, 17.8, and you have ETF, the exchange traded funds, which have 20.3 billion. This is the breakdown of different securities listed on the NGX, that is Nigerian Exchange. And now we dive down to the equities, the options available on NGX. As I said earlier, NGX has a total market capitalization of 39.56 trillion. And we have different stocks listed. Among them, we have 156 of them are equities. These equities are listed on the premium board, the main board, and the growth board. Investors have access to trading on these various shares listed on these boards. You have the premium board. This premium board is actually the listing segment for elite group of issuers that meet some stringent rules in terms of the float, in terms of corporate governance, in terms of listing standard. Then we have the main board. In this category, you have the likes of Dangote Cement, and then some other companies, and also Zenith. You have also the main board, where you have Pioneers Board, and it comprises of the well-established companies that have track records as far back as 1961. Their board actually reflects both sectorial and geographical diversification in the listed companies, catering for funding needs of these enterprises. The last one we have is the growth board. This board is for the small and medium scale enterprises, and you have them accessing funds. People investing in these companies understand the organization and understand the various products produced by this organization. We dive down to what are equities. Equities actually indicate shares. They are also known as shares, and they indicate ownership in a company or financial instrument. And these people owning these equities are called shareholders. The shareholders are entitled to the portion of the company's profit, which is distributed in terms of dividends or bonuses. And if you acquire a share, that means you have a part ownership of the company. The shares are traded on a regulated exchange, which are controlled by the activities of an apex body called the Securities and Exchange Commission. On the Nigerian Exchange Limited, you currently have 17 indices. These indices actually track the performance of stocks listed on the NGX. Some of these indices, NGX 30, which tracks the performance of 30 most highly capitalized stocks. You also have NGX 50, which tracks the performance of the 50 most capitalized stocks. You also have NGX consumer goods, and then you have for some other subsectors too. And then how can we acquire these shares? You can acquire shares both in the primary and the secondary markets. The primary markets are the markets for new issuance, whereby companies come to seek capital, either equities or debt, and the various forms which you can raise the capital can be through an initial public offering. What do we mean by initial public offering? Is where a private company offers to the general public new shares. You can also get shares to offer for sale. For offers for sale, you have the major investor offering part of the shares to the investing public. Then you also have another way you can acquire these shares is through offer for subscription. When we talk of offer for subscription, you are talking of a company, a public company offering new shares to the general public. And then you can also acquire it through a right issue, whereby existing shareholders are requested to purchase are offered additional shares by the issuer or the company. Another way you can acquire shares is through the secondary market. These are the shares that are already listed there, and then you can buy through the Nigerian Nigerian Exchange Limited, the NASD OTC Exchange, and then trading for bonds and treasury bills. You can do that for FMDQ OTC Exchange. These are various ways, that creates liquidity for the shareholders. When the shareholders need liquidity, they can access it through by placing their stocks in the market for sale. Now, what are the benefits of this? Benefits of having shares. You are entitled to dividends. You're also entitled to rights, the right issue, and then also bonus shares, capital gain, and limited liability control, which means that whatever happens to the company, you have at least, no matter what happens to the company, it's just the amount you invested in that company. And then who can invest? You have retail investors, you have high net worth individuals, you have institutional investors. A category of people can actually invest in shares. Another form of investment is the fixed income investment. This type of investment, the return is actually fixed. It's actually predictable. If you're a risk-averse person, you can actually invest because at a particular time you get your return. In terms of annual, you can get it annually, you can get it semi-annually, you can get it quarterly. And this you can access also on the floor of the night or on the floor of the NGX. As you know, there are so many bonds also listed on the NGX. And then fixed income, you can divide it into, you have short-term instruments and long-term instruments. For the short-term instruments, we are talking of the treasury bills. Those are short-term instruments and they are issued at discounts. While the Nigerian treasury bills are primary auction, you can get it at the primary auction, which is done every fortnight. And then it's 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days. The open market operation is actually used by CBN to mop up liquidity in the system, and so it's available to some specific kind of the banks and also the foreign clients. It's not available to institutional clients, locals, institutional clients, or even individuals. And then for the bond, the longer tenor, the bonds are medium to long-term debt instruments issued either by national government, states, or municipal government. They issue it to raise capital. They borrow funds from investors for long-term projects or for refinancing. Now, the bond is primarily introduced to the public through an auction or a book building process. And this book building process, what the issuer tends to do is to try to determine the price in a most efficient manner. And investors are allowed to submit their bids. Based on this, a price will be determined. In Nigeria, the federal government issue monthly. The FDM bond consists of any 10. These bonds are issued monthly by federal government of Nigeria through DMO, and then it consists of a 3 year, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and also 30 years naira denominated bond. What are the benefits? It provides a safe short-term, because it's less than 1 year. You can also have the long-term vehicle, but you know that the income is fixed. You are sure at the end of the day, for an investor that is risk adverse, is sure at the end of the day, this is the particular amount I'm going to earn in form of coupon. Then there is growth when interest is earned. Some investors decide to leave the interest and then earn interest upon interest. That is what we call compounding. And also having these instruments is that you can actually use it, as for collateral for loan. You can also use it when you are going, to get visa. It can also be used, and then it is also not subjected to withholding tax. Who can invest? A retail can invest, which can be done by the FGI savings bond, which also issued monthly, and this has created an avenue for retail investors. What DMO has done in collaboration with the Nigerian Exchange Limited is to create avenues for investors to invest for development. And then for the FGN savings bond, what to do is coupon is paid on a quarterly basis. So investors have access to do trade also on the floor of NGX. And then for the primary market, institutions with capacity to invest a minimum of 50,000 and more, 50 million, 1,000 can do that through the primary market. What other instruments are available on the NGX? We also have mutual funds. Mutual fund is an investment vehicle made up of pools of funds, pulling together all funds to invest in various securities. For an investor, maybe you want to buy maybe you want to buy treasury, but you don't have enough money and to buy some different securities you're interested in. By putting your money in mutual fund, you have access to a wide range of securities, and then it is professionally managed by fund managers, which guarantees you capital gain and also dividend income at the end of the day. And very soon also the Nigerian Exchange Limited will be introducing derivative trading. And that is trading is derivative is a financial instrument or contract that derive their value from our underlying assets. Although right now we have some derivative listed, like the new gold is a derivative listed currently on NGX. The derived is value from price of gold. So, but very soon the Nigerian Exchange Limited will be introducing derivative trading. Then other products listed on the NGX exchange traded products, ETF. These are securities that track the performance of an index or basket of assets. They are a form of alternative asset classes, and they are also listed for trading. And part of which we have already 10 currently listed, and part of it is the Greenwich Alpha ETF, a product of the Greenwich Assets Management Limited. So what are the benefits of these investments? Benefits of this investment, one of it is investment gain, and that is in form of capital gain. Investing in stocks creates a chance to grow your fund. You're able to grow your funds because stock market tends to rise in value through individual price stocks moves. There's a rise and also fall. So in that wise, you can actually grow your funds, and then you're able to build your wealth over a period of time. Because at the end, you are sure of capital gain, also sure of dividend. There is also diversification. That means investors can put funds in different assets. You can diversify your risk so that you are not exposed to a particular asset class. This exchange also creates that platform for you. The exchange also creates an investor protection because the exchange limited requires listed companies. Nigerian Exchange Limited requires listed companies and their products to meet strict regulatory requirements with regards to the reporting, corporate governance, and disclosures. Investors get access to all this relevant information, and based on this, you are even able to decide on which stocks or which securities you want to buy at every point in time. There is also a secure clearing and settlement from NGX. NGX provides a reliable, in partnership with CSCS, so there is no counterparty risk. Once you buy a stock, you are sure of delivery, and also once you sell a stock, you are sure that your funds will be credited into your account. And even recently, there is what we call the direct cash settlement process, where the investors can decide to say, okay, once I trade, let the fund hit my account almost immediately. And then there's also increased liquidity. You are not afraid that when you buy any one of the securities, you will not be able to exit. It has created opportunities for exit, and there's actually strong liquidity in the market to be able to exit those stocks or bonds, whatever instruments you decide to purchase from NGX. There is also standardization because it aids safety, transparency, and you can actually see there is also price discovery, efficiency, and risk reduction, and also liquidity of the transactions in the market. Now I go down to our online digital solution, My Trade Book, which is an online trading platform. Now, because of the XGen, whereby it works with fix. You are able to, as an investor, instead of calling or reaching out to your broker, and then maybe you are not able to reach your broker on time, you can actually trade on your account through this online trading platform. You have access to your account, you have access to control of your account, you can see the balances in your account. And it's also a convenience tool. You also have access to research resources so that you can be able to make those decisions. Who can use these products? University students, youth corpers, young upward mobile working class individuals, small and medium scale business owners, HNI individuals, anyone can use my trade book. And the benefits of this service to clients: trade and execute transactions wherever you are without the help of a broker. And you also have access to real-time market prices for various securities listed on NGX, and also a research support. You can also view and manage your portfolio. And then there is prompt feedback on mandates you receive. You can view your cash accounts, and also you can also do a withdrawal and also direct payment. How do you access this? You can go to www.mytradebook.com. And also, we are currently working on revamping the mobile app, which will be out very soon. Once you get there, you can go on to put in all your information, upload all the KYC documents, and KYC document will mean your means of identification, utility bill, and your passport photograph. Once that is done, the administrator will take it up from there, process it at the back end, and then CHN number, CSCS number is created, and then you are linked to our other management system, and within 24 hours, the account, after 24 hours, the account is opened, and so the clients can go ahead to trade whatever instrument they want to. Green Securities Limited, just a short information about Green Securities Limited. Green Securities Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of Greenwich Merchant Bank, and it's the dealing member of the Nigerian Exchange Limited. We are also leading members of the NESD OTC platform, and also members of the Financial Market Dealers Quotation OTC Exchange. We trade in different instruments: equities, bonds, treasury bills. We trade on behalf of clients. We've also been involved in numerous of large ticket transactions, both on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Limited and also on NESD, the OTC Exchange. And then in 2018 and 2019, my trade book was voted the #1 online trading platform in Nigeria. And we continue to work at it to ensure that we continue to lead in that wise. And we also, the Green Securities Limited has also in one way supported the Nigerian Exchange in the backing of the vibrant derivative markets. GSL will remain resolute in the pursuit of excellence and then value creation for our clients and also for investors. These are the different products where, as I said earlier, equities trading, fixed income trading, Greenwich Connect, which is a means for which we assist our clients to retrieve their outstanding dividends and also bonuses. We can also help you track your shares wherever they are. We can also assist you in that process. We also act as sub-bookers and placement agents, and also, as I said earlier, the My Trade Book online trading platform, which gives you access to trade on your accounts and to have control of your accounts wherever you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniela, for that excellent presentation and for speaking extensively on the topic, realizing income from investments, and also for making it very easy to understand and relate to. I can already see a few questions being directed your way, but we'll get to that at the Q&A session coming up in a little while. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ms. Eniola Osula, who's the acting MD of Greenwich Securities Limited. As mentioned earlier, this webinar is an interactive one, and it is time now for our second of 2 attendee polls. Now, just like the first one, this one is also being administered digitally. So please follow the prompt on your screens. It should only take a minute or so to complete. As with the first poll, the responses will be collated on your screens. They will be collated and be displayed on your screens for everyone to see as we go on with the webinar. Thank you. So please, just as you did for the first one, go ahead and answer the questions on your screen and follow the prompt. We will just have a few moments for us to answer those questions. Thank you. Thank you. We just have a few seconds more before we turn off the poll, and so we can start putting together the responses. If you haven't finished, please try and go ahead and finish. It's just a handful of questions. We should stop that in a few seconds from now. And the results, as I said, will be displayed on your screen. All right, thank you everyone for participating in the poll. The results are now being collated and analyzed. We'll get to see them displayed on our screen in a few moments. Now we're about to move on to the next item on our agenda, and this is another very interesting presentation. This one is titled Innovations in the Registrar Space, and this is going to give us a better understanding of the role of the registrar in investments. This one is going to be presented by the Deputy Registrar and the COO of Africa Prudential PLC, Mrs. Catherine Wilson. Over to you, Catherine.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols. My name is Catherine Mosu. I work for Africa Prudential PLC. I've been speaking to us on what the registrars are doing in order to enhance the investor's wallet. First of all, let me talk about Africa Prudential PLC. This is a company that has been in existence for over 50 years. We started as a department of UBA, and then in 2013, we changed our name from UBA Registrars to Africa Prudential Registrars PLC, and we got listed on the exchange. By 2019, we knew that businesses cannot continue unless you innovate, and we decided to start doing certain things differently. We got an innovation lab, and then by 2019, by 2021, we already have a couple of applications that we've delivered into both the capital market and other industries. We have vast experience in the capital market, having spent close to 50 years or thereabout. We've handled several transactions, all the forms of transactions in the capital market, we've handled them. And our core values are enterprise, excellence, and execution. You will agree with me that with the trend of things, unless you're willing and determined to go the extra mile, you will not achieve. And then getting things done consistently and in excellent manner is very, very key. If you don't have the burning desire to always see things completed and in a timely manner, you will not grow, both as an organization and as an individual. The capital market, currently there is a lot of activities in the Nigerian capital market, starting with the increased surveillance and monitoring by the regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission. We know that over the years, there have been issue of investor confidence being eroded. So a lot is being done in this direction by the regulators to ensure that they restore the confidence of investors in our market. The COVID brought in the need for us to operate using digital channels in addressing investors, both legacy and existing new investors' problems. If we look at what happened during the COVID, a lot of people were confused. People didn't know what to do because we were compelled to stay at home. And that gingered the innovative spirit in so many people. But for us, like Africa Prudential, we started doing things in this direction, knowing that one day working from home might just be part of the major work arrangement. A lot of introductions in the market, like online forms and addressing investors' issues through digital channels, like communicating to them through emails. Today, annual reports are dispatched digitally. If 5 years down the line, nobody would have believed that that will come to happen, but this is part of the things that is happening today in our space. Now, everybody knows that we need to embrace technology in whatever we are doing so that people that are not investing in our market today will begin to come and invest. There is need for us to develop interactions through various digital channels so that the younger ones would be available in our market. I just looked at the first survey that was done, and it was about 18% of the respondents are under the age of 35. So we need to do a lot of things, and things are happening in this space to make sure that the younger generation participates in our market. What does the registrar do? First of all, ensuring that the register of members of any company is in order, is balanced, is reconciled, is updated as and when due. A major role of the registrar is to ensure that investors get their benefits. People invest so that they can grow their wealth and then get whatever benefit that is attributable to that particular investment. I'll speak more into this area. It is also our responsibility to ensure that we deploy online products for the convenience of shareholders and update transactions as they are being traded on daily basis. Now there are a lot of pain points that investors have in this market, and we understand those pain points. We're not folding our hands. We are doing certain things to ensure that we alleviate those problems and make investors enjoy the purpose of investing. Top of the problem that investors experience is the issue of unclaimed dividend. We have it both in existing companies and for some companies that are no longer operational. There are companies that have gone down the drain, but they've declared dividend that people are supposed to collect. People have not collected those dividends. There are companies that have also changed names. Investors know that they invested in a particular company, but because that company has changed name, they don't even know. Even if you are talking about unclaimed dividend and they look at the list of clients, they will not see that client that they are very familiar with, and they will think their client is dead or they don't have anything. Meanwhile, they have dividends to claim and they are yet to claim it. Now, KYC is a major problem as well. During the boom period of the market, people will just do name dropping and shares are bought for them. So by the time there became the need for people to now lay claims on this investment, we have problem. Yes, today we have the BVN, we have the NIN, we have the CHN. So the market is still trying to work out a very acceptable means of identification for the market, a unique identifier, so that if we say that this is Catherine Wosu that has this identification, no other person will share that ID with me. So the market is still trying to ensure that we have this and then have a central platform. CSCS has developed something where people can go and do their KYC, but we are still working together collaboratively to ensure that people have a central point in this market where you can go validate your KYC. And the moment you validate that KYC, anybody, any operator in the market who has need for that, of course, we are mindful of the NDPR regulation to make sure that your data is safe and secure, that is not shared to unauthorized persons. So we have considered all those things in what we are doing in the market. Then dematerialization, people still carry hard copy certificates. There are problems with identification. Some cannot provide the required KYC documents to be able to open CSS account and then dematerialize their shares. We are looking at a number of options that will help people solve this problem. There is siloed operation on the market. Investors will complain that if I go to an Africa Prudential, they will tell me they require ABC for one particular activity. If I go to another registrar, they say it's DEF that they require. We know that there is a lot of inefficiency in our documentation, and we are working on that. Limited knowledge by the millennials. I talked about the poll. Only 18% are under the age of 35. What of the 18-year-old, 20-year-old? Are they in our market? They are not. They don't know so much about our market. Not that they are not desirous to invest. They don't know so much about our market. That poll also showed that it was about like 5% that got to know about this event through their friends. So which means we as operators have a lot to do so that we can spread the news about what is going on in our market, the investment opportunities in our market, so that people will know what we're doing. Then settlement system, our T+3 is still not there. The younger generation want it on the go. If I'm investing, let me see it in my statement. Will let me be able to leave the next day? So waiting till 3 days is still not the best, but I know the market is working on this. So what are the innovations that the registrar team are doing, are bringing into board to help solve this problem? First of all, We have digitized our e-dividend mandate form. Currently, if you go to the website of Africa Prudential or some other registrars who have introduced that as well, you will be able to complete the form online, upload your picture, upload your means of ID, and submit. So you don't actually need to go to the registrar's office to be able to complete your e-dividend mandate form. But most importantly, today, there is CSCS collects bank details, BVN, phone numbers, email addresses at the point people are opening accounts. And those information are sent to the registrars. Registrars are doing a lot of things to make sure that those information enter database so that they can pay investors. So if you're a new buyer today in our market, you don't need to complete e-dividend form. You don't need to go through that process. So long as you have provided your information through your broker to CSS, it will get to the registrar and your data will be updated and you get your dividend or any other benefit that is due to you. Introduction of offline and online voting channels. I mean, COVID brought it to a reality that everybody cannot be at AGM physically. If you look at all the AGMs that companies have been having since last year, they are all proxy AGMs with not more than 15 shareholders physically present in the room. All others are expected to join online. Yes, today people are asked to join through YouTube, but that's not where we are going. We are going to a position where an investor should be able to join the meeting online, send his questions online, and those questions will be addressed while the meeting is going on. When it is time to vote, the investor will be prompted to cast his or her vote with the resolution displayed. The investor will cast the vote and everybody will see the result. So that will help investors feel that they belong. So whether you're physically present at the meeting or not, you should not lose anything. Africa Prudential has that application today. Use a multi-channel solution to engage and address shareholders. I mean, I've talked about meeting investors through their available channel. Some you should meet them through USSD. Some should be through WhatsApp, some through chat, some through chatbots, some through email, and every other channel. We have a lot of channels now that investors can reach out to, and that has actually reduced complaint to about 50%. And registrars are working assiduously to make sure that we reduce the turnaround time, so that if any request is coming in today, within 24 hours, investors should get their issues resolved. Now, the payment turnaround time, we're working on it. We're working with payment service providers so that payments are made seamlessly. We still have some challenges when you upload bulk payments. It's either some delayed, some are delayed, and some even get rejected. We are working with all the payment providers to make sure that we solve this. Investment in enterprise solution and the market. How do we solve the issue of siloed operation? An investor will come to Africa Prudential, send one request. You go to First Registrar, send the same request. You go to United Coronation Registrars, drop the same request. So registrars are mindful of these challenges, and we're working on having a central drop box, a central point where investors can enter and they will be able to reach whichever registrar they have issues with. We are working on something in this direction, and very soon we'll advise the market. Standardization of documentation. I've mentioned about the issue of you go to this registrar, they tell you bring ABC, another registrar tell you bring BEDF. We have actually come together. We have standardized our documentation. It's going through final approval process, after which we'll advise the market. Africa Prudential products, I talked about our event management solution called APEMS. With this application, your meetings can be managed from any part of the world. You can log into your meeting and participate actively. It has automated event invite, proxy activation, seamless accreditation and registration process for the host and members, election, online real-time election, instant reporting, and very good user experience. Africa Prudential has also developed some other products. We have our enterprise application for registrar business that we're using today. We're enhancing it to version 2 so that people can even manage their own register without giving a registrar an account to manage. If you're a company and you have very few shareholders, you can manage your account with the right tools and the right solution. We're also coming up with an Invent. Invent is a one-stop shop for the market where we can meet ourselves and interact. will be coming to the market very soon. We've started a lot of engagement with operators, and they are very excited to hear this from us. Some of the products that we've created, I talked about in 2019, when we said that we need to innovate, we need to move. So we gathered a lot of young men and women, very, very vibrant, innovative. Their job is just to think and look for how to provide solutions to both the capital markets and other industries. And that is what I brought right to some of the products I mentioned, even Greenpo. We have cooperative application being currently used by the Nigerian Police Force. They have the largest cooperative members in Africa, over 300,000. And we have other companies that are using this for the cooperative community. We've developed a shopping mall, online shopping mall called Easy Mall. We also have a body shop services for the technology team, body shop consultancy services. We also have Aura. This is a hospitality application that will allow you enjoy your hospitality no matter where you are and book whatever services you need. Even if you go to the hinterland and you don't know anybody, from online you get in touch with your barber, your caterer, and everything you need. We also built an entrepreneurship application. We did that for the Tonelumelu Foundation, and we're also doing that for some other organizations that are into entrepreneurship development. We also have Red Deals. This is also a multi-vendor online platform where you can do a lot of things, a whole lot of things. We also have a Diva application that is for logistics booking. So many other things. We are solving problems both in the capital market and the other space, other industries. But paramount for us is to ensure that investors enjoy their investment, making sure that we build in security into whatever we're doing. Applications are scalable, low-cost maintenance, user-friendly, artificial intelligence. Of course, today, system will tell you what you're doing, how you fed the last month, the interactions you had. These are the intelligence that we're building into our systems. Support services, to ensure that customers are delighted. We delight customers at every point in time. Mobile application, identity management. I've talked about the global data protection regulation. In fact, we're very much mindful of that, and we're taking that into cognizance in whatever we're doing. Applications are cloud-based to ensure that there is no network issues, no downtime. Our developments are agile in nature. We have gate quality audits, innovative and quality audits, risk management, production audit, and a lot more. Key to us is to ensure that there is support in whatever we are doing. And we work with a lot of partners, world-acclaimed partners like Microsoft, IBM, and the likes, to make sure that whatever application we are developing is good to go and people are happy using them on the go. Our corporate outlook is to make sure that companies, institutions that will deliver world-class, disruptive, and innovative technology solutions to all businesses. So Africa Prudential is not just a registrar firm, but a technology registrar company doing both registrar business and technology solutions development. But for my audience today, who are mostly capital market operators and then investors in the market, we are assuring you that there's a lot of cleaning, in-house cleaning going on currently, both in Africa Prudential, and I discussing with my colleagues in the industry. We have teams that are working to make sure that we clean our databases to make sure that we identify our investors. The moment we are able to identify our investors, I tell you, this problem of unclaimed dividend will be a thing of the past. The moment we are able, and we need collaboration with investors. I tell you, SEC gave stockbrokers a mandate of 3 months to go about and get the details of all their investors. Stockbrokers have been finding that very challenging, especially for investors that are living in the villages outside Lagos. That mandate, that deadline has been extended severally. So we are appealing to everyone that is on this call. If you know anybody that has invested in this market, whether the person knows the company invested in or not, let that person give you the details. Send it to the market. Send it to your broker. Send it to SEC. SEC has regional offices. Nigerian Exchange Limited has offices as well. Registrars have offices. brokers have offices. We don't have online emails that you can reach us. Whether you are sure that Africa Prudential is the registrar or not, send it to us. We'll advise you on who the registrar is so that together we'll help investors get their benefit so that people will be happy coming to our market. Because if you invest and you can't get your benefit, you'll be unhappy. We have a number of clients that we're servicing both in the capital market and outside the capital market. And to contact us, we have 3 branches here in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. And we have our online channel at cxa@africaprudential.com. You can send email to this. You will get response to this, to any mail you send to this email. You can also contact us. Let's work together and solve this our capital market problem, make investors happy, make regulators happy. We can pay everybody the same day. We can pay everybody within the next 1 month, so that even if federal government want to take unclaimed dividend to investor fund, at least it will be that of those that maybe have died and their children are still young, they are not yet come of age to claim what belongs to their parents. But at least let every living investor that has bank account be able to get their benefit. Working together will achieve this. Thank you.
I must say that was another great presentation on the role of the registrar in investments, with emphasis on innovations in the registrar space, delivered by the Deputy Registrar and COO of Africa Prudential, Mrs. Catherine Wilson. Thank you for the insights in that presentation, Catherine. So having seen the presentations and listened to the speakers, it is time now for our Q question and answer session. And for the benefits of those that may have joined late, let me say again that if you have any questions for Mrs. Wosu, Mrs. Sula, or any other person here today, you can type your questions in the Q&A space on your screens. And in asking your questions, please remember to include your name, your location, and indicate who your question is directed at, and we will get to it as quickly as possible. We'll be taking the questions in batches of 3, and then give our speakers a chance to answer the questions before we move on to another batch. So I have a few questions here, and I'm going to start asking the first batch of questions. These questions are directed at the acting MD of Greenwich, Ms. Eniola Usula. I have 3 questions here in this batch. The first of these questions is, how safe are the investment instruments? This is from Adibayo Okunola. It doesn't indicate where he's from, but from Adibayo Okunola, it says, how safe are these investment instruments? I'm particularly interested in the mutual funds. Are they secured? The second question is from Love Koffa, and she says, how can a low-income earner without regular income invest in mutual funds? How does one start the process? Can you recommend a particular area to invest? And the last question in this batch, also to Mr. Sula, is how can I subscribe to my trade book if I already have a CSCS number? So Eniola, if you're here, please go ahead and take the 3 questions before we move to the next batch. Thanks.
Thank you very much. For the first question, actually, the mutual funds are actually very safe because they are managed by professionals. And for mutual funds, you said you were interested in bonds. Well, this is actually a very safe investment because you are sure at the end of the day of your interest coming to you. It is not volatile like being in the capital market. This actually is a very, very safe investment. So you are sure of your investment, and it's managed by fund managers, professionals. You will ensure at the end of the day that you have a capital gain and also dividends at the end every quarter. Then the second question about how can a low-income earner without regular income invest in a mutual fund? Well, mutual fund is actually as low as 10,000. You can invest as low as 10,000. A particular mutual fund is the Greenwich Plus Money Market Fund, where you can invest as low as 10,000. What you just need to do is you fill the subscription form, and then with the subscription form, you put your utility bill, passport photograph, and means of identification. As low as 10,000, and then afterwards you can pay in 5,000 and then go up along. And then before you know it, at the end of the year, you'll be surprised how much you have in your coffee. Then for my trade book, for you to open my trade book, you can go straight to www.mytradebook.com. You can open your account and we can assist you to open a CSS account. And then what we'll now do is you merge it with your CHN number, so you can actually trade on that platform. So what you do is just go directly to www.mytradebook.com, fill in your details, upload your KYC documents, and then you start from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eniola, for those answers. I'm moving on now to the second batch of questions. These questions are directed at Mrs. Catherine Wosu, the Deputy Registrar of Africa Prudential PLC. Some of these questions you've already touched in your presentation, but for the benefit of those that joined us late and also maybe had network issues, we will still take the questions again. The first one is from Abdullah Suleiman, and he says, the issue of e-dividends is still a headache in dealing with certain registrars. Can you explain what you are doing to simplify this issue? The second question is from Adegboyega Ogunlesi. And the question is, I was appointed an executor of a will recently, along with the daughter of the deceased. How do we migrate the shares of the deceased to the newly opened estate account? The last question on this batch also for Catherine is, can you make dividend payments and or collection easy? There are lots of funds trapped in unclaimed dividends. And how can you make these easy? So Catherine, please go ahead and take these questions before we move on to the next batch.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for those that have sent in their questions. The issue of unclaimed dividend is a bitter one for all of us. And I tell you, registrars are not sleeping. What we are doing currently, and as I mentioned, the issue of identity management has been the problem. And what we're doing is to ensure that you send your information either through your broker or to CSS or complete the e-dividend mandate form. If you complete the e-dividend mandate form either online or physically, or send it to the registrars or send it through your banks, the registrars and the banks will validate and then you'll be paid. But the quickest method is for you to update your information through stockbrokers. I mentioned that SEC even gave stockbrokers mandate to update their investors' information. Please reach out to your stockbroker. Provide your bank details, your NIN. You will not, your NIN, your BVN. You will not need to fill in mandate form again. The moment you give this information to your broker, they will submit it to CSS. I tell you today on daily basis, as we are receiving trading information, CSS is also including the bank details. The moment you have these bank details, we'll pay you both the current dividend and the existing dividend, and the old ones, both the ones you know and you don't know. I've seen a lot of shareholders that called me and said, you mean, please check whether this money you sent to me are mine. And say, yes, they are yours. We've got your bank details from CSS and we have credited you. So we're not even waiting for you to come and request again. The moment you update your information, you will get your dividend. On the person that asked on how to move the shares to CSS, you need to take the document you have collected from the court, the letter of probate, and your information relating to the account, and then submit it to the registrar, the affected registrar, so that they will, with the dematerialization form to be signed by your stockbrokers, they will change the name to the name of the estate and then dematerialize the shares to your CSS account. And then the last question is whether we can make the dividend payment simplified. It's a collaborative action. If you do your part as an investor, please, I'm begging us to advise our friends, colleagues, and customers on what they need to do. At times, we believe we know this customer too well. We might even write their names in a non-conventional manner. We validate these accounts through NIPS. And if there are differences in names, it becomes a problem. Some people have actually mandated the accounts, but at the point of payment, the payments fail. And it's painful to us that somebody has gone through this process and the payment has failed. And you see reason, name mismatch. So it is important that when we are completing this bank details and others, let's make sure that the name we use in buying the shares and the names we have in our bank account are the same, so that we will not be having all these failures. And then registrars are doing a lot. Internally, we are collaborating to make sure that at least if I have the information of one investor and maybe a Cardinal Stone has that same investor, but they don't have the information, we can share. Because I tell you, virtually all the registrars share like 60% of investor information. The same investor in the shares are managed, and the same investors in the shares other registrars manage. So we are trying to collaborate, bearing in mind and ensuring that we don't pay to the wrong person. Because if you pay to the wrong person, recovery is a big challenge. Thank you.
Thank you for your answers, Catherine. We'll move on to the next batch of questions. This question is from Emmanuel Ono. He doesn't indicate who the question is directed at, but I think the head of retail investor coverage, who is here with us, Mrs. Chidinma Chukwuekekolo, is in a good position to answer a few of these questions. So Mr. Emmanuel Ono asks, he says, thank you for your presentations. I wish to know if the all share index is also tradable, and if there are other tradable stock indices available on the NSE. The second question is from Jane Opala. Once again, she didn't indicate who this question is to, so I will also direct this at the head of retail investor coverage at the NGX. She says, how can I invest in gold-backed investments or equities? And the third question in this batch is for Ms. Eniola Usula of Greenwich Securities. It's from Agogo Uwejayan. Agogo says, what stocks or assets do you have in the Greenwich Alpha ETF? So I'll allow Chidinma take her questions first, and then Eniola will take hers before we move on to the next batch. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Kechi. So what I'll start with is like, what are indices? What's an index? So indices are a measurement of price performance within a group of shares from the exchange. So essentially, an index is an imaginary portfolio of securities representing a particular segment in the market or the whole market, or the market as a whole. As an investor or a trader, you can trading these indices enables you to get exposure to the whole market or just a sector while only having one single position. So to answer your question directly, why you cannot buy indices, which they're essentially just benchmarks, owning an index can be accomplished indirectly, either through self-indexing, index derivatives, or ETFs. So self-indexing is basically going to the market and buying all the components of that index and then tracking it. Or you can track it through derivatives, which is a market that is coming up soon within the Nigerian exchange, or you can use ETFs. So ETFs is a type of investment fund that tracks the performance of an index or a basket of securities such as shares, bonds, commodities, and the likes. ETFs, they're listed on the stock exchange, and you can trade them like stocks, like equities, and they provide investors with the opportunity to diversify their investments at a relatively low cost. So instead of going in and having to buy each of those components, you can just buy an ETF and your transaction charges will be lower, and then you still get you gain the same exposure to the, like you had the individual stocks, and yeah, like having individual stocks. So someone had mentioned on the Greenwich ETF. So there are a number of ETFs that are listed on the exchange. So you have, for example, growth and value indices. You have the Greenwich Alpha ETF. You have the banking, Vetiva banking ETFs, other ETFs on the market. So if you go to our website there and click on ETFs, you find a full list of the ETFs that are available. And this will follow on to the second question, which was about how you would, how can you gain exposure to gold? I think that's what Ikechi said. So we have an ETF called the New Gold Exchange Traded Fund. So the new gold gives you indirect exposure to gold commodity. So it tracks the price movement of gold. So you can actually purchase this through any of your stockbrokers. And if you give them the mandate, they'll be able to purchase this on your behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidinma. Eniola, please go ahead and take your question now.
Okay, so for the Greenwich Alpha ETF, it actually tracks the NGX 30. And so what we have there is you have Access Bank, you have Boa Cement, you have Custodian Insurance, you have Dangote Cement, you have Dangote Sugar, you have ETI, you have FBN, you have FCMB, you have Fidelity, you have MTN, you have Flour Mills, you have GTCO, that is Guaranteed Holdings, you have Nestle, you have Nigerian Breweries, you have Okumo Oil, and International Energy. So it just tracks NSE 30 index. Thank you.
All right, thanks for that, Eniola. We'll move on to the next batch of questions very quickly. Once again, I'm going to direct this one at Chidinma, the head of retail investor coverage. This question is from Ezekiel Dada. He doesn't direct this to anyone, but he says, how can an individual trade on the exchange? How can an individual trade on the exchange? And then the next question also is not, it doesn't indicate who is directed to, but I'm going to direct this to Eniola of Greenwich Securities Limited. The question is from Isaac Iyogwoya, and he says, good day, is the FGN savings bond interest subjected to withholding tax? So please go ahead and take those answers.
Okay, thank you, Ikechi. So to answer the question, how can you invest? Your first stop would be through a broker. So if you go to our website or download the X mobile app, you'll find a list of brokers that are licensed by the exchange. Now, your broker would ask you for KYC information, like Catherine has been speaking about, so which would basically be your means of identification, your and your address and other information. And then they'll use this KYC to open an account for you at the CSCS. And once you have your account opened and you've opened and your account opening form from the broker, you'll be able to trade and they'll take in your mandate. So it's as simple as that. It's not difficult at all. A lot of brokers now have online account opening process, mobile app. So it makes trading a lot easier, and also give out a lot of research that helps you make your investment decisions. So it's as simple as that. If you go to our website, you'll be able to find a list of brokers, a comprehensive list of all the brokers. You can choose them based on recommendation for friends, or just do your own research on which broker you would like to engage with. Thank you.
Okay, for the question on if the FGN savings bond interest is subjected to withholding tax, no, it is not subjected to withholding tax. That is one of the benefits of the FGN savings bond, and also creating opportunities for retail investors to actually benefit in the development of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidinma. Thank you, Eniola. Because of time, we cannot take any more questions right now. But we will look into all of your questions, and whatever questions that you have asked which we've not been able to answer, we will be sure to send you the answers by email. We have your details, and we will send direct those questions to the relevant speakers and get the answers to you as soon as possible. So we'll move on very quickly, and we understand that there are some of us here who would like to delve a lot deeper into some of the topics that we've talked on here today. For that reason, we have with us here today to give us some important information about the X Academy and further learning with the NGX. The head of the X Academy at the NGX, Ms. Ugochi Obi.
Thank you, Ikechi. I will share my screen at the moment to start. Okay, so welcome everybody, and thank you to the previous speakers. So as you have heard, and just like Ikechi said, you've heard so much about the product, you heard so much about shares, bonds, and some of the products. How do you learn more? And that's where the X Academy comes in. The X Academy is the learning hub of the exchange, and we were established to as a platform to help individuals in their capacity development. And we have been, the exchange has been training for the past 45 years. And what is the objective of this X Academy, which is the learning hub, as I said? It is to bridge your knowledge gap. So I can see that some of the questions that have been asked, you're wondering, how do I even start in investing, and what do I invest in? How do I know what to choose from? So that's what the Academy does. It gives you in-depth knowledge, practical knowledge on what to do. We also equip you provide you relevant skills to be able to help you in your investments and to give you insights into your products, into the products and services of the capital market. Now, in what areas can we do we cover? Does the X Academy cover? We cover areas like how to educate companies to get listed, what is required for them to become a listed company. You know, we offer investment education, just like I've mentioned, and I'm going to show you some courses. We go on to talk about technology innovations, what's happening, what's the trend. We give you a bit more information so that you are aware and you do not fall into the wrong hands when you want to make investments. Okay, and we go on to also teach you on integrity and things about the anti-corruption. So in line with this webinar you've had now, what further education or what further training can you take? And sorry about that. So we have some courses available that will be of interest. First of all, we have the Understanding Capital Markets to give you a better understanding of what the capital market is all about. Who are the players? Who is involved? How does it flow? You know, so that course takes you through that, gives you an opportunity to ask all your questions and get instant answers, and also discuss with these players at real time. We also go on to teach you about stock and bond investing with live simulation, which gives you a deeper understanding of how to trade, what shares are available, how to choose. Again, it also teaches you on how to trade so that you understand when your stockbroker is discussing with you, you make decisions, you make informed decisions. And so you'll be created on this very simulation, and then it'll teach you how trading is done. And so that you would understand. We also have beyond stocks. So you've heard about, somebody talked about investing in gold, and Chidima mentioned that we have a product like that, derivatives. All those are alternative investment options at the exchange. So we'll also give you in-depth knowledge about that, so that you don't only have your investments in one pot, on shares, but you also have in other areas. So that's what that course does. And of course, there's also a live simulation. Then there's another course on investment analysis and portfolio management. So when you have these different portfolios, how do you manage them? So that's all these courses are in hand to help you understand better and be better informed to work with your stockbroker. And apart from all this, of course, we have our training calendar, which shows you a lot more courses that the Academy offers. And you can access this through our website by going to the NGS Group website, X Academy, or you can send us an email, directly using the email address x-academy@ngsgroup.com, and we'll answer your questions instantly and provide you further information. So we look forward to helping you, your capacity development. Thank you, Kechi.
Thank you very much, Ugochi, for providing that much needed information. As Ugochi said, if you need any further learning on any of the topics that we've touched on today, please reach out to the Exchange X Academy through x-academy@ngxgroup.com. Thank you very much. Next up, I would like to call now on the head of the Retail Investor Coverage Department at NGX Limited, Mrs. Chidima Chukwueke-Okolo, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Kechi. The divisional head trading business, Mr. Jude Chiemeka, Our speakers today, Enyola Osola and Catherine Mosu, distinguished ladies and gentlemen who have joined us across all our online channels. It's indeed an honor to deliver the vote of thanks to close out this stimulating and interactive webinar on realizing income from your investments, which you will all agree has been remarkable. At the Nigerian Exchange, we recognize that it's important that investors receive adequate knowledge of how the capital market works and how to take advantages of the opportunities it presents. And I believe we have achieved this today. Let me express our deepest appreciation to all the speakers who have shared their knowledge and experience with us on this webinar. Your contributions are truly insightful and will inspire further discourse and engagement on smart investing in Nigerian capital markets. I'm proud to say that this webinar has been an outstanding one, both in participation and the quality of conversations we have had. An event of this nature is made possible through the contributions and commitments of the esteemed participants, organizers, and speakers. I would therefore like to commend the role played by Greenwich Securities Limited and Africa Prudential PLC during the event and behind the scenes, and thank my colleagues in Retail Investor Coverage Department for putting this together, Gochi Obi for our participation, Ikechi Ogu, our able compare moderator, and our IT and corporate communications teams for the role they have played in this webinar's success. More importantly, perhaps the greatest gratitude goes out to the audience who have joined us across various online platforms. We appreciate your time and we do not take this for granted. For all the questions we're unable to answer, for once of time, we'll surely respond via email. And if you have any further questions, please go to our website where you'll find our contact details and many more relevant information. I thank you all for listening and please continue to stay safe and in good health. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidima, for officially bringing this event to a close. Thank you everyone for your time and for being a part of this webinar. Please continue to stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Good night.
Thank you.